G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a Navy submachine gun, which is a confusing name because it's clearly green. This weapon is based on a real-life firearm of Swedish origin, designed by one Gunnar Johansson, who I'm sure is related to Scarlet. But this 9mm shooting submachine gun is relatively cheap to make. It's a very simple-looking thing and is very light. The namesake is actually derived from Carl Gustav's rifle factory, or whatever that might be in Swedish. That's where that name comes from. And the M45, I suppose, is just the US military designation because they like to put an M before everything. It's just what they do. This thing was used by the Navy SEALs during the Vietnam War because with a design like this, you can take this thing out of the water and fire it just like normal. It's a very simple and basic design, but it looks like something that is cheap to make and very light to carry around, so a pretty good choice for any sort of Navy SEAL type environment where you need to pop out of the water and shoot stuff because you don't want to be encumbered by a gigantic heavy rifle now, don't you? Anyways, enough talking garbage. I'm going to put some attachments onto this. This thing can only be used in automatic fashion. The powerful auto receiver pushes these 9mm rounds provided by the munitions mod, by the way, to 78 damage. We can get that a little bit higher, but for a start, it's very 9mm esque in its performance. We can go for a long light barrel here. That'll increase our range to 191, which is respectable. Also give us better recoil, reduce our hipfire accuracy though, so perhaps at close range it's not going to be quite as effective. And then you've got grips, which you can have a Deathclaw hide grip down here, which will give you better hipfire accuracy and recoil control, so we can offset the long barrel penalty for hipfire, I suppose. Next, we've got the magazines. The strongest one here is going to be a quad stack magazine. Gives you a ton of ammunition, but will cut down on your reload speeds. If you've got something like fast hands, you don't have to worry about that as much, but generally a higher mag capacity will be better in combat, obviously. Next, we've got the sights. You can have standard sights, glow sights, holographics, or reflexes, and even short scopes, and this is experimental thermal scope, which I said in a previous video I'd show off, and I still haven't done that, so this time I am going to do it, alright? Or, something bad will happen. I don't know, I'll delete Tammie's mod, and no one will be able to download her anymore, so for the sake of Tammie, we'll keep that around. We'll throw a reflex sight on because, well, it's going to be better in VATS that way, so also be easier to aim at stuff. Next, we've got a muzzle attachment. Flash hide is there. Gives you a little bit of extra range, not too much, but having the muzzle flash not in the way of your shooting might make it easier to get targets or target people. Also options for controlling recoil and the muzzle braking compensator. Also suppressors, and if you want to boost that rate of fire up to enhance your DPS, there's a muzzle booster there, which I quite like. I like how we're getting muzzle boosters because it's not just a straight quick time event to hit the suppressor. Except right now it is, because I want to throw that on. But yes, 98 damage with Ace Operator. I'm sure that'll be okay when we get into actual combat. Next, we've got a legendary effect provided by a legendary modification. Skip over that. And we've got an extraneous accessory we can attach to the side, including a flashlight, a recon laser, which will track your targets. That's targeting module, pretty useful for any crit builds. If you want to use this thing with, say, a calibrated receiver, which there aren't any of, then that would be a good synergy, but that doesn't exist, so don't even worry about that. There's also a bipod, which increases aim down sight accuracy. Interesting. Let's go for not a bipod on this one, we'll go for a recon laser for scouting purposes. And of course, you can throw a stock on, including a folded one, no stock at all, like you see now, a full one, recoil compensating, or marksman. So if you want to aim down a scope and you want to use this thing for a sniper weapon, you'll have less scope sway with this particular stock. But if you want to control all of the recoil, make it easy to control as possible for follow-up shots, even at sort of medium to longer-ish ranges, then a recoil compensating stock will do you the best. And that is it for the attachments. Let's show you how to get these things. There's probably a couple of uniques floating around. I'll show you how to get those as well. Let's start. Let's shoot. Let's go. Hurry up. Our first unique is located right in the wreck of the FMS Northern Star, which is down here. Also, there's the Mr. Wendigo guy. So let's do I want to do this? Not really. He's just ragdolled through that mantis over there. You know what? We'll start off this with a little bit of combat. Why not? But believe you me, there's going to be dudes around here, and we're out of AP. Still in caution, however. Now we're not. And we'll just get a reload and a quick reload there. And now we're feeling that 9mm damage, I'll tell you that much. But we can get an easy stagger every now and then. In fact, it is relatively strong when staggering. And plus, I've got something that I want to put forward to you. I've found that this thing can actually fire a lot faster than what you possibly can do. So what you want to do is just spam the crap out of the trigger, and for some reason it'll make it fire faster. I think whatever animation set they used, the I don't know, maybe the timing's all wrong, but you can fire this thing way faster if you want to use this thing, if you spam mouse button one or whatever trigger that you use. And if you utilize something like VATS for slow motion during your VATS runs, you can fire even faster in real time, to the point where I can... Are you gonna do anything? No, I guess I'll keep these crits rolling. But yeah, as soon as I'm not sneak critting this guy, he's tanking it up. But luckily, I can... Actually, that's helpful. I need that. We'll go into Nerd Rage now to get all of this extra time to go into slow motion bullet shooting. As long as he doesn't do his dive forward attack, then would be in pretty good shape. Quickly reload in first person there. And unfortunately, the trap card of Nerd Rage has killed him. Now, as I was saying, you want to find the boss chest of this particular area. You can go and do that normally, but if you've got a jetpack or a grappling hook, you don't have to be a pleb about it. Here is Jormungda. Target is poison. Wow, poison. That's worthless. It is absolutely worthless. Shut up, Billie Holiday. I'm not gonna give any of my royalties for this video to you. But, yeah. Whatever that name was, I can't pronounce it. It's in a foreign tongue. But, yeah, poisoners. It's good against anything human, but if you're not shooting at humans, which is like 90% of the enemies in this game, it's goddamn worthless. The next unique is located somewhere within the Old Gullet Sinkhole, which is here against, there's Molden there, you've got Dark Hollow Pond, General Tomic's Galleria, Sanctuary's not too far away, so pretty low level, easy spot. There are Stingwings and possibly Cazadors around if you've got that particular mod installed, but a 9mm round scaled down to a size of an insect is pretty gnarly, but there's only a couple of places where I expect this thing to actually be. One would be in this steamer trunk, which it is clearly not. By the way, there's a Deathclaw in here, and he'll get ya. But luckily, we've got extra stopping power on our 9mm. We're gonna go down here to the actual sinkhole itself. And once you go inside, there's a couple of bits of loot hanging around. There's a skeleton, there's some dude with a hat, I think. There's even some sort of magazine in here that gives you some sort of super survival ability, but inside you'll find it somewhere. Okay, so it's pretty well hidden after all. I was expecting it to be up here somewhere near the workbench and the lantern, but it's actually just over here on the sort of southwest area, just a little bit west itself of the cooking workbench. But here's Fire Breather. Let me guess, Incendiary. Yep, that would be right. That's cool. It's also got some of these characters on the side. I wonder what that says. A little bit of trivia for us. Maybe someone will chime in the comments and tell me exactly what that means. The Navy submachine gun is injected onto the level list post level 10. You'll find it in shops, raiders, triggermen, you know, those sort of low level guys. So maybe we've got to temper our expectations of what this thing can achieve. It's only a 9mm basic submachine gun, but we'll give it a run. We'll buy it, and we'll also buy that one as well. Also got a comment. Where do you get the HKG-28? Where did you think? If the SR-25 is in a leveled list in the shop, why wouldn't this also be here? There's your answer. And we're finally at Immersive Gunners Plaza, and here is our Gustaf in first person, but we've already seen this thing, so we'll take a quick look in third person. Notice how you hold this thing like a pistol in third person. There's no current third person animations that make it look like you're holding it in two hands like that. Perhaps that's a patch to be made down the line, but that's just what it's like. So that's the first one I made. This one here is the poison one. It's got the cool gold accents on it. Shortest barrel that I could find, with glow sights and a muzzle booster and a flashlight for good measure there, which is kind of worthless in broad daylight, but it is what it is. I'm going for a minimalist approach on this one. And here is a scoped version with a, I think it's got a VATS targeter thing on the side as well, with the modification for a marksman stock. If you crouch, there is absolutely zero scope sway whatsoever. No soap sway either, that's helpful. And lastly, the fire-breathing one with the weird characters on the side that I cannot read. This one, it's got a bipod, so we're going to have slightly better aim down sights accuracy. Also got a marksman stock, so I've got a little bit better scope sway when I crouch. But that's pretty much what we've got. And, well, we're going to be punching above our weight here, so hopefully, just hopefully, we can maximize our time while sneaking when using this thing, because as a 9mm submachine gun, we're a little bit outgunned here, don't you think? So if we can get away with getting as many sneak criticals as possible to start off with, then we're going to be in pretty good shape. Stop right there. As they come closer, they'll get themselves into a more favorable range for this particular weapon, and they'll die a little bit quicker. And if we want to cheese the fire rate here to get even more damage on them, then I suppose that's okay. Okay. The caveat is there's like a weird animation for shooting. So if I spam mouse button 1, I'll get the impulse of reflex. I guess that's like trigger slap or something that's throwing the scope out a little bit. But so far so good as a stealth weapon. You can't really go wrong with any automatic suppressed stealth weapon with a scope with relatively good accuracy like this thing. But if we decide that we don't want to be sneaky anymore, well, we might have a little bit of trouble. Let's go over to our thermal scope, because that's what it does. It gives you a little bit of a green tint, and perhaps the brightness settings are attuned to daylight because I'm not being blinded. I can actually see my targets right now. The glorious days of sneak criticals are over now. We're back to normal vision, and yeah, the damage, they're tanking it up quite a little bit. One thing I will say about this weapon is that it's fairly accurate with decently controllable recoil, so you can get away with going specifically for headshots on this thing, and you'll have a good time in doing that. Its stagger frequency is, well, staggeringly high as well, so if you've got one enemy just to juggle alone, then you could probably out-DPS them just by the fact that you're making them dance on the spot rather than doing much else. Let's switch over to something a little bit more personal. We go over to this one. Its minimalist approach should mean that it's going to be a pretty capable weapon to utilize in VATS, although I could optimize it more by putting on a holographic or reflex sight, but I like this minimalist approach, and I'm going to blind them with a flashlight as well. Why not? But as you can tell, they do tank it up quite a little bit if I don't repeatedly shoot them in the head. So accuracy is going to be your best friend when using this thing. And it's got plenty of traits that would help you out with that. Anyway, so we'll creep up to this guy. Bounce the trigger down as fast as we possibly can. And almost kill that guy before he levels up. That guy's punching on with a ghoul. Good luck to him. I reckon the ghoul's got him covered. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the ghoul just ate his throat. Good on him. Got a brigadier wants some. She's got a knife though. That's cheating. Ghouls aren't armed with knives. Oh no, Tactical's dead. Oh well. Better give him one of these. Right, back on target here. Focus. Let's add some criticals in the mix. I'm thinking if we can get a couple of good rolls of Grim Reaper Sprint here, which doesn't look like it's going to happen. But we can utilize a bit of VAF's gun through to get some criticals in critical moments, just to make sure we finish off the guys a little bit quicker. I think we're actually out of range when it comes to that guy. Try a longer barrel suppressed version here. Is this thing faster in third person as well? It might be, you know. Way to boost the DPS a little bit. It seems much faster, to be honest. It also seems to fire for days and days and days, but that's just the massive ammo capacity on it that's doing me pretty well. So whatever the third-person animations are, they don't line up to the same rate of fire which, I mean, I think that's just because we're using vanilla game third-person animations, which therefore means if you equip this weapon on NPCs, wow, you just took a bunch of damage from that. Should have worn a harness, mate. Here's an interesting statistic about workplace safety and falls. The majority of falls that kill happen under 2 meters. There you go, true fact. Anyways, we haven't quite hit nerd rage just yet. We've been able to temper the flow, control the tempo of this particular encounter, and having that massive streak of stealthy kills before did nice, but it is blatantly obvious that we are punching above this particular weapon's weight, and despite that, it's responded pretty well. It helps when I've got a health bar of some 1400 health, of course, but this is way more than average amount of gunners that you'll encounter in Fallout 4, so I feel like it's done pretty well there. Pretty admirable job for a 1945 9mm chambered submachine gun. I will say that I think the grease gun would have done it better though. Also, check that out. It's on your back like a rifle, but you hold it like a pistol, so... Oh, that is very confusing. Is it an identity crisis? It might be, you know. Okay, so now we're going for a more Spec-ops approach. And here's what the thermal scope looks like. So in the darkness, the green sort of filter makes everything look much darker, but it also changes the everything else that is lit up by the thermal scope to be a lot more bright. It's easy to pick out the figure from the ground. It's one of the depth cues that us humans have in our brains to identify things, or just the silhouettes. They're easy to spot. And as soon as he's done killing that Rust Devil, we'll be able to start sneak critting him. I wonder if I could get a couple of cheap shots in there. No. Got kind of let down by the accuracy of the weapon just then. So I'm just going to keep backpedaling away. He shouldn't detect me too much. If we ignite him, he'll be like a torch, and then he won't be able to see because like the flames that he's wrapped in will be engulfing him. It'll make it easy to see, harder to see me, right? You follow my logic there, Swan? I think he is. He's going to continue hiding behind his little arm of boat that he's got, but if we can just scalp the top of his head whilst he's doing that, we can achieve up to 480 damage, which I think is a pretty good deal. I think he's aggroed to something, or I'm not sufficiently sneaking quite enough, because he's decided to go over there. This might be a good time to start generating crits back. Who knows, I might even need them. So there we go. I think that was a 4-leaf clover there. Whatever that was, it got me a couple more crits that I needed. And we're dead. So yeah, that was full Spec-ops spec there, except for, I guess, the outfit. But, you know, we're going to a beach after, so it's fine. I suppose we could try one last thing. Okay, the final task for today will be destroying the NCR. I mean, we're close enough. Those aren't exactly two-headed bears, but there's plenty of bears, as you can tell by all the diamonds on screen. So, you know, plenty of heads to go around. And we've brought backup in the form of Nuka World Gang, plus Winter and Matilda, because I tried this with just the Nuka Gang like 10 times and it got destroyed every time. So we're bringing in some heavy hitters in the form of Winter and Matilda. So hopefully with that edge we'll be able to win. And I mean, if Winter's with us, then this is basically on ice already. But here's how we'll start. We'll find a bear that's out the back, and if we can line up a couple of cheeky collateral headshots, then that would be pretty good. Like that one, for example. We've got 3 crits to use, so we shall use them. And we're probably not going to get all of the sneak criticals for all of the time, but that was a pretty darn good start, I would say. So with that momentum, I'll flank around the side here and try to kill all the little ones, whilst the rest of the followers engage the big-ass bear over there. Got a couple of lucky breaks with some bat-centric perks here. to get me that little bit of extra AP usage. That was a timely stagger. I think that was Winter doing that, so that's good. And now you can witness the firepower of a staggering 9mm submachine gun that is hell-bent on staggering a giant bear, which will cause a great earthquake that is felt all throughout the universe. Come on, crits, come back now. Alright. Did a pretty good job on him so far. He probably hasn't hit mutation threshold just yet, but I think he's stuck. And Winter is somehow at full health, but not doing much. Yeah, I'm about as confused as you. What about you? Okay, now I'm getting eaten. That's actually hit me in nerd rage. So whilst you're standing there all stoic-like, let's use this as fast as we possibly can take it. And then reload again. Everyone keeps running into the meat grinder. No, Carla. Oh, and of course, the blonde one will follow. Now I'm out of cronies, and I think he's gotten himself out, maybe. If I just... Ooh. With that lunge forward, he might be out. But he somehow managed to wipe the squad, and we've got just me left. Now is your time, Winter. So you want to get up? Oh, he's out of here. Everybody revive. Hurry, hurry, hurry. That's two in a row. That's pretty good. And we are good, except for Winter, who is still refusing to get up. There we go. Had to hit the right spot, right in the hair. Now let's smash it home in this last quarter. He's one-shot 3 of my followers like that. But I think we've got the firepower here. If we can stay around here, Kira's gonna get eaten next. There we go.
Hey, get him.
Let's just refocus here. Don't let him kill Winter. No! Didn't happen. So Camilla's the only one that was left standing after the end of that fight, but it's over. We did it, and it was a little bit of a struggle, but there it is. So that there was the M45 Carl Gustaf submachine gun.
There's only one way to find out. Hell no.
And no friendly banter between Vicky and Carla. Although you might notice that she's not wearing a mask at all, so whoops. Anyways, so if you want to see this weapon in your game, check out the link in the description. It's going to be hard using this thing at a end game, high level sort of level of the game. Ran out of synonyms for it, but early game, this thing is probably going to set you up pretty well. It can do really well, and maybe these modifications being of late variety might hold you back in terms of how much damage output you can get from it. But if you want to go for like a stealthy SMG build, like, you can't really do much worse than this. It's done alright considering. So if you are interested in seeing this thing in your game, and there's some extra translations too, if your English is not your native tongue, then link will be in the description. Do I recommend it? Yeah, why not? Give it a go. If you don't like it, then just uninstall it. That goes for most mods, but maybe you might find this one to be not as useful in an endgame way as some other weapons that you might find on the channel. But if you are interested, link in the description. Check it out. Thanks for watching. Well, that was a tough fight. Let's go swing by the fish and chip shop before we return to the beach headquarters. Sound good? Yeah.